Hello, everyone. I wish we were gathering this evening for something joyous, but we are not. I am joined this evening by Councilwoman Tara Mosley in the great city of Akron, and we are here to discuss briefly what is going on in Akron, what the mood is, and just getting everybody up to date, as much information as we have to this very moment about the senseless, not just shooting, but murder of Jayland Walker. That's what we're going to talk about. And I just, Council Lady, I want to set the stage and then have you come in and talk to us about the mood and what elected leaders are doing, what activist leaders are doing, and what the family is asking of the larger community. We know that what happened to Jayland impacts his family directly and affects the Akron community and the greater Northeast Ohio community. Well, hell, the greater nation, more broadly. So let me get everybody up to speed. I don't want to assume that folks who are joining us from all over the world actually know what happened. So Jayland Walker was 25 years old. He was fatally shot on Monday. It was about 12:30 a.m. in North Hill. There was a police chase, and that chase ended in Firestone Park. He was stopped for a minor traffic violation. He was shot at 90 bullets was fired by, Council, was it 8 police officers involved?
Yes.
90 and 90 bullets. Jayland was running away. So away. Can't even understand why they would shoot this young man that many times. This is the third fatal shooting, I understand, by police in 6 months in the city of Akron. And the city has asked the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation to take over the investigation. So I'm going to stop right there. Council Lady, you are there. You represent a portion of Akron. You live, that's your home, born and raised. So can you share with us what, in fact, is going on in this moment?
Right. Well, thank you for having me, Senator. So, what we're dealing with here in the city of Akron is unrest because of the shooting of Jayland Walker. We're talking about a young man who had no criminal record, but what if he did? It still does not justify what has happened. Um, Driving. Right now, we don't know where he was coming from. We do know he was a DoorDash driver. So he could have been coming from a delivery. We don't know that yet. But what we do know is he was on Route 8 and police officers were in hot pursuit of him. He got off over in the Firestone Park area in the city. He jumped out the car to run. And from the time he got out of that car to run, 90 bullets were shot towards him. 60 of those bullets hit his person. And to make matters worse, we are now being told that they even handcuffed his lifeless body. And
Yeah.
it's been very troubling, and it's been very heartbreaking to see the hurt in his family's eyes. I mean, you're talking about a kid who you can obviously tell was very loved, didn't bother anyone. And we just don't understand why police officers are trained to kill and not to disarm. They're saying he had a weapon, but now the coroner's office is saying the weapon was in the car. It was never on his person. And again, let's remind everyone, because there's some people out there saying, well, why did he have a gun? There's no law against Black folks owning guns too. We live in an open
Hello.
carry state. We live in an open carry state. So if we want to talk about people owning guns, we are allowed to own guns too. So we need to stop that. That notion is, why did he have a gun? He legally was allowed to have a gun. He was not a felon. And if he wanted to own a gun, he legally was allowed to. So,
And on that point, Council Lady, I want everybody that has tuned in with us this evening to know that recently, just recently, Ohio passed even a broader law, the state of
yep,
Ohio, that anybody, for the most part, like you said, you can't be a felon, but anybody can just carry. Now, at first, you had to get some type of training. Once upon a time in the state, that is no longer the case. You can carry to your heart's delight. That just
right.
recently passed within the last 6 months in this state, probably
Yep.
less than that. But yeah, so your point is well taken. And people do need to understand that, yes, Black folks can have a gun on their person. It's not a crime, even though
Right.
people treat it that way. And another point I just want us to drill down on, when you talked about he didn't have any record, he was loved. I want us to have a broader conversation about how, when Black folks are involved in incidences like this, we always have to try to humanize that Black person. We always
Right.
have to go the extra mile. Go ahead, jump in. I
Right,
know
right.
you, yeah.
Yeah, that's the part that is always so disturbing and disheartening when one of our Black brothers or sisters are murdered. We have to humanize them so that the media doesn't criminalize them. And it's like that's what this family is working towards. When the family had to come out and say, we're not going to allow you all to make our Jayland seem like he was a thug. It's terrible that we even have to do that, because I
Yeah.
don't care if he had a criminal record a mile long. At some point, someone should have been a voice of reason in whatever happened that early morning to say, you know what, let's back off. You got the license plate number now. You know where the car belongs. Can we just send a ticket to the house or go to the house? But for things to escalate as far as they did, and all these assumptions about there was a gun, there was gunshots, none of us know if that was true or not. But again, 90 bullets rained in the direction of a man who got out of the car unarmed, and 60 of those bullets hitting his person. It still does not justify any of it.
No, it doesn't. And I saw online, I was looking at some of the comments, even though that's dangerous on social media, but I dipped in a
Right.
little bit. And somebody made the point of, like, where did the other 30 bullets go? Because all kinds of people could have been killed because they are out there doing the wild, wild west over a traffic stop. I want people to understand that. So for those of you who are just joining us, I am talking with Akron Councilwoman Tara Mosley. We are talking about the murder of Jayland Walker. Jayland Walker was a 25-year-old young Black man. He was fatally shot on Monday. The incident started about 12:30 a.m. in the North Hill community, and the chase ended in Firestone Park. 90 bullets were fired by 8 police officers. 60 of those bullets, as the councilwoman laid out, hit Jayland's body fatally. I mean, it was absolutely fatal. We know that shooting was like the third fatal shooting by police in the last 6 months in the city of Akron. The city has asked the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigations to take over the investigations, because I'm sure, Council Lady, the community will not trust anything Akron police has to do. The family is calling for peace. And so, Councilman, I want you to talk about the family, talk about some of the protests that have been going on in the city. And I know that there is a bigger protest scheduled for tomorrow, as the video is supposed to be released to the public. Let me give one other point before you jump in here. In my reading about what has happened, the family attorney has made it clear that the video itself is brutal and that it may stir up passion, is what he said. I'm paraphrasing him, but I think he used the word passion. I'm going to throw in emotion. So let's just go ahead and interpret that as it ain't good what's on that video. Council Lady.
Correct. And so to go back to the beginning part of your statement, where our police chief and the mayor asked for the Bureau to step in to do the investigation, I commend Chief Milet, who is our new police chief here in the city of Akron, for doing that. I think he wants to move the department in a different direction. He actually met with the family and their attorneys and clergy ahead of time so the family could view the video prior to it being released to the public. And I commend him for that. I would just say we recently had family members that were killed here or passed away here, whatever you want to call it. We have our different terminology for what happened. Traffic stop. My nephews took off from the police. We'll never know why, whether they were scared or whatever happened. They ended up getting in a car crash and dying. Well, because of that, and that happened on just this past Easter Sunday, the chief and some of his sergeants met with our family ahead of time so we could view the video before they released it to the media. And that's never been done here. So them taking that step, I commend them on it. However, now that we move forward, there has to be some accountability. We thank him for his transparency coming in, but there has to be accountability for what happened. So the family is saying they want there to be peace. They don't want anyone out here creating mayhem and chaos in the name of Jayland. And I hope that the people who live here and the visitors that we expect are going to come in from the outside respect that. We're not saying not to protest. We're all for a protest. We're all for rallies. That is your right. But we're saying respect that family enough. Have enough respect for that family to honor their wishes. Don't let his name be in vain, because we already know how this is going to play out on the national circuit. They're going to make it seem like there they go again, tearing up their city, burning down their city, and then they're going to attach Jayland's name to that. Let's not do that to him. We can't do that to him. So they have continued to make a call for peace. We've all sent out our own press releases for a call for peace, whether it was from us as a collective body, as the Black elected officials of Summit County. I've sent out my own individual statement. Representative Galansky has. Across the board, we see it coming in from all over the place. Everyone is talking about it, and we're hoping that people are going to be incensed and they're going to be angry, and we get that because we are, and it's okay. That's okay. We're just saying let's respect that family in the process of it,
and channel that anger into action. And anyone who engages in violence is certainly not doing that in the name of Jayland. They're doing it for themselves, which is selfish.
Absolutely.
So don't center yourself. This is about Jayland Walker, and this is about his family, and this is about the larger community. So don't make excuses if you plan to come there and disrupt in a violent way, because the family has asked very clearly, they've stated it, do not do that. And none of the people who are coming to be supportive, Council Lady, of that family can be more angry, more grief-stricken than the family. So the family is asking you not to act a damn fool. So don't go in there acting a damn fool. They've been clear. Protest your behinds off, but don't act a fool. So
because we always have those agitators, whether they're inside or outside agitators, that have their own agendas. And a lot of them are using that right now because they have their own agendas. And our agenda right now is justice for Jayland Walker, and that has to be it. And we have to stay focused on the mission, or nothing will change. We can't continue to call for police reform, but then when we actually have an opportunity to see a change, you have those outside agitators who are upset about it. This right here, unfortunately, is going to be the change that we've been demanding for quite some time. I have asked continual about the dash cameras in the police cars. There used to be some in there. Had been told by retired officers that when they were in there, some of the officers would pour coffee down in them to make them malfunction. So my call will be for dash cameras to go back into all the police vehicles. And one of the things that I've talked to the chief about after my nephews passed away was making sure that we have a conversation with the state about these license plates, this paper license plate stuff they got going on now. It has to stop. They have to be visible. So then we can get rid of these chases. You have the license plate number. There is no need to chase that individual unless that vehicle comes up as stolen. You now have captured the license plate. Now you know where the person is. Go to the home, because now you're putting other people in danger. And I want to make sure that all of our officers, you shouldn't feel a certain kind of way about us demanding change. You shouldn't feel a certain kind of way about people seeking accountability and transparency. The only ones that are going to get mad are the ones that may have some issues going on in that area. So you should want that accountability and that transparency. You should want those dash cameras, because you know what? That's keeping everybody safe and keeping everybody honest. So I know some of them are feeling a certain kind of way today, but don't. You shouldn't. If you're doing the right thing and you're there for the right reason, you should never have a reason to feel a certain kind of way about us protesting and demanding accountability.
Agreed. And good police officers should be just as enraged as the community because it makes the job of law enforcement that much harder because
Right.
there is no relationship between law enforcement. There's no trust between law enforcement and the very communities that they took an oath to protect and serve. So, no, they shouldn't be salty at all when it comes to the community, as you said, Council Lady, demanding accountability and transparency. If you are a good law enforcement officer, you should be right on the side of that justice to find out exactly what happened, why it happened. I did get a chance to watch the press conference. You shared that with me, that the family and their attorney had, and some faith-based leaders and other community leaders, your local president of the NAACP, and some of the points that were made there about why wasn't there de-escalation tactics used, deployed
Right.
first. Why wasn't there tasers used first? Even though I remember the family attorney saying that maybe somebody did deploy a taser, but they don't know if that came first, second, or third. But law enforcement has got to be able to use de-escalation tactics. And as
Absolutely.
somebody that served on Governor John Kasich's task, or the task force he created,
Right.
Councilman, you remember
Mm-hmm.
that
Yep.
after the shooting of a young Tamir Rice on a playground in the city of Cleveland in 2014, right around Thanksgiving. There are standards in this state, and I would be interested to know. So while people are protesting, there are some policy things that we can look at, that so that, as the family laid out, Jayland's death is not in vain. There are standards in the state of Ohio for the use of force and the use of deadly force that was implemented after the death of Tamir Rice on that playground. And every law enforcement agency in the state is supposed to adhere to those
Right.
standards. So I asked the community, particularly the Akron community, to ask the Akron police chief and the mayor, where are they in terms of those standards, the use of force and the use of deadly force. Now, obviously, we need to go further than that.
Right.
And as you laid
Right.
out, Council Lady, this death, hopefully this murder, because that's what it was, is going to hasten more policies, more activities. But we cannot policy our way through
Right.
callous indifference to Black lives. And this is unfortunately what this comes down to at a very base level. Yes, should we have policies in place, rules and regulations? And, in having a conversation even with Ryan, because, some people were saying that handcuffing, as you laid out, they handcuffed his dead body. And there are people online saying that is standard procedure. Well, as Ryan and I were talking, the hell was standard procedure was out the door when you shot at this young man 90 times. There is no more standard procedure. So miss me with the standard procedure nonsense. How is it, Council Lady, that people like, Dylan Roof, Mother Emanuel, he could be taken into custody, armed to the teeth, and taken to Burger King before his behind is taken to jail.
On his way to jail.
On his way to jail.
Yeah.
How about the Buffalo shooter taken into custody, no incidents? And I'm not saying I am not saying this because I wanted those young men killed either. All I'm saying is that the same way you pick up these people who are armed to the teeth, these white young men, is the same way I want our Black young men treated. Treat them like they white. Hell.
There you go.
Go ahead, Council Lady. Jump on in there.
Listen, I mean, you preach to the choir with me, so I'm right there with you. I just we have to stop demonizing Black men, and that's what they do.
That's right.
It's almost like are our Black faces the ones being used at target practice? Because I mean, he was target practice, and I know I'm probably making a couple officers who know me mad, but that's just as someone who has Black grandsons, that worries me about what happens to them. You know what I mean? I mean, we got to all put ourselves in the place of Jayland's mother and his sister and his father and his family. That could have been one of our brothers, our children, our grandchildren. And we would want to seek the same kind of justice and vindication for their lives. And we have to do that. So, we've gotten together with the NAACP. There will be a rally tomorrow at 2:00 in front of City Hall. After the video is released, the video will be released tomorrow, I believe at 2 p.m. And pray for the city of Akron. Pray for the city of Akron, because I'm telling you, um, this is hard. When you think about a young man having 90 bullets shot at him, he was a skinny guy, skinny young man, and 60 of those bullets hit his person. All I kept thinking about and replaying in my mind was Emmett Till and how he looked after all the things they did to him, and how this young man must look, and what his when his family has to see him. How, I mean, that breaks my heart for them. And and I've said it then, and I'll say it again. I stand with them. I will be here to the very end, and on again, because unfortunately, this won't be the last one. And it hurts to even say that. It hurts to even say that. Our Black lives have to matter just as much.
Right. Black Lives Matter too. TOO. That's really what that
Right,
movement was about. It wasn't
right,
against anybody else's life. It's just to say, damn it, country, recognize it. When you gonna recognize it? This is state. I mean, this happened at the hands of the state. And when I say state, I mean government. I mean, these are people who took an oath to protect and serve, not to shoot somebody 90 shots at this young man. And because I know that his physical, his physical body, he was a slender, skinny young man, as his family has described him too. But hell, even if he had girth, 90
right.
shots at him, 60 on his person, it absolutely makes no sense. It also reminds me of what happened in 2012, as I'm sure you remember this. And I just want the people who are joining us who are not from Northeast Ohio, but this happened in Cleveland in 2012, where Melissa Williams and Timothy Russell, they were
Yep.
in an older vehicle. The police claimed that they were being shot at. It turns out the older vehicle had, it backfired. It was one of those, I mean, real
Right,
old
right, right, right.
vehicles. And it had a backfire. They were not being shot at. They chased this couple. The Cleveland police chased this couple all the way into East Cleveland, which is a suburb of Cleveland. They shot at this couple 137 times. And one officer in particular, which led us to the Brelo case, because only one officer was
Right.
brought to trial and got off, jumped onto the hood of their car and shot into that car, point blank range, 40 flipping times. Councilor, this is what this reminds me of.
Yeah,
They
that
claimed they
absolutely
had a
does.
weapon. It turns out they had no weapon. There was not even a weapon in the car, no weapon in sight.
Right. And
And
so for
no
me,
justice was served.
I'm wondering, I mean, it's 4th of July weekend. I mean, everybody's
Yeah.
got fireworks right now. Did he
Yes.
really shoot, or was it fireworks? We don't know that, but we want to know. We want to know, because
Yes.
it's just not making any sense. It just does not
No.
make any sense.
No.
And it's troubling, and it's unfortunate, and we know emotions are running high on both sides, but they need to understand why we are all seeking justice, because no one, not even animals, are treated like this.
Yeah.
And it hurts. It hurts for that family to know that they treated Jayland less than human, and that's terrible.
It is terrible, and we need everybody to recognize that. So, Council, let's go over it again. There's going to be a rally tomorrow. The family is calling for peace. Again, for
Yes.
those of you who are joining us, I am talking right now to Councilwoman Tara Mosley. She is a councilwoman in the great city of Akron. She is there on the ground, firsthand information and knowledge about what is going on in the city, how the family is feeling. Just the vibe, I'm sure, is very heavy and sad right now. Jayland Walker, 25 years old. He was fatally shot on this past Monday. The incident started to take place at 12:30 a.m. in the North Hill community in Akron, and the chase ended in Firestone Park. 90 bullets were fired by 8 police officers at Jayland Walker. 60 of those bullets hit his body. This is the third fatal shooting in the city of Akron over the last 6 months. The city has asked the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation to look into this. The family is calling for peace. The family's attorney has already put out there into the universe that what we are going to see tomorrow, the council lady has said that the video is going to be released tomorrow, Sunday, July the 3rd at about 2 o'clock p.m. The family attorney has already said that it is a brutal video and it may stir some passions, meaning people are going to be very upset. Councilwoman, I understand from my conversations with you also that there will be a call for the feds to jump into
Yes,
this. Can you talk
yes,
to us a little bit about
absolutely.
that?
Yes. So the Black elected officials of Summit County, we have called for the Department of Justice to step in for various reasons. The story has changed too much. And so when the story starts changing this much, there needs to be another set of, of eyes on this investigation. We went from 6 officers to 8 officers. Now some of the news media outlets are reporting there were 12 officers there. Some of the media is reporting that that one of the officers stood over his body and shot him while he was already dead. For these very reasons is why the Department of Justice needs to step in. This is not no shot at, you know, what they can do here. But when you're talking about something to this magnitude, there has to be another set of eyes on this. We have some other elected officials that have called for oversight from the Department of Justice. I will make that call here publicly to Senator Sherrod Brown. Maybe he should step in as well and call for there to be some oversight, and Congressman Ryan, because this did happen in his district. Congresswoman Brown did put up something for oversight, but this is Congressman Ryan's district. So I'm hoping that he will step up and ask for oversight as well, because something has to give here. We can't keep coming back to this same place and having the same conversation and asking for the DOJ to step in. We need you to step in for this city's sake, for this family's sake, and for this country's sake, because this can't continue to happen.
That's it. So we're calling on the Department of Justice to step into this, and they should step into this. And Congressman Tim Ryan, we calling on you to step into this, and also Senator Sherrod Brown. And you know what? When it comes to something like this, there are no district boundaries. This pain is being felt all across the city of Akron, the greater Akron area, Northeast Ohio, and hell, it should penetrate all of our great state council ladies.
Absolutely.
So everybody should be calling. Even the police should want the Department of Justice to come in. You know, I really applaud, as you said, the police chief is new. The police chief is being very transparent, and accountability, that will go a long way. And also, it is vitally important that we say, and the family attorney said this too, this is not, you know, police officers are going to be all in their feelings, but this is about the feelings of this family, about what happened to their loved one. But if you are a good law enforcement officer, meaning that you take that oath to protect and serve seriously, and you treat people with decency and with respect, we're not talking about you.
Right.
We're talking about, and law enforcement, you're not the enemy. But there is a systemic pattern in this country of treating Black bodies less. That's real. That's not conjecture. The council lady and I are not making this up. Baby, we got all the receipts all across this country, how Black bodies are treated differently. And so those who are in the profession, which, council lady, we know it's hard. We know it's hard. But those who are good and true to what that oath means are on the side of justice, just like the rest of us. So, Council Lady, any final words for people? Maybe people can call both the senator and the congressman's office, call the Department of Justice and ask the AG to get involved in this. What else can people do, Council Lady?
We want you to, you know, show up for the peace rally if you live here in the city of Akron, because we are calling for peace. It's tomorrow. They will meet at Quaker Square parking lot at 135 South Broadway at 2:30, and they will rally at 3 o'clock in front of City Hall, which is, you know, right down the street from the police station. There's been protests all day today, but we are having a peace rally tomorrow because we want to stand in solidarity with this family. And this is about peace, and this is about justice.
Yeah, 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. So for those of us who do believe in thoughts and prayers, we're going to send all of that, and we want action. We want justice. So we can do thoughts and prayers, because I'm a church girl.
Yeah,
thoughts, prayers, and action. Yeah, we both church girls. Thoughts, prayers, and action. And
That's it.
action. Yeah. Exclamation
Right.
point, bold. Don't forget about that. And
Right.
action. Council lady, thank you so very much for joining us this evening, for giving us,
Absolutely.
we're getting a firsthand view because of you. People all over this country, I'm sure, are agonizing over what happened to Jayland Walker. We do, in fact, want to make sure that his death is not in vain. We want to lift up his family, lift up the greater Akron community, and lift up our state in this moment of mourning. It should be a moment of mourning. Nobody should take joy in what happened
Right.
to Jayland, and
Right.
we all should
Absolutely.
want to make sure that nothing like this ever happens to anybody again, regardless of creed, color, position
Right.
in the universe. Police officers are not meant to be the judge, the jury, and the damn executioner. That is not how our legal system
Right.
is supposed to work. So this is absolutely wrong. And unless there was some imminent danger, which so far nothing proves that, no reason to shoot at this 25-year-old young man 90 times and have 60 bullets pierce his body. Council lady, thank you so much for joining
Absolutely.
us
And thank you for
tonight.
having me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank all of you. So please join the peace rally. Please do what you can where you are with what you have to help to be the change. Stand side by side with the Black elected officials of Akron. You can send letters, you can email. Let's get out there and demand some justice. Prayers, thoughts, and
And
justice.
action.
And action. All
Absolutely.
right. Good night, Council lady. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for having me.